What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. As you can see, if you're watching on the Facebook Live, Greg is even more animated than usual. I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure he's not tired. He did something like 17,000 steps yesterday. I don't know if that was all on the stair stepper or if he was walking on hill, downhill, or what the deal was. But Greg got plenty of exercise. Is here, probably had some carrot juice, and so we're fired up and ready to go. We're going to take your questions. We're also going to talk about some goal-setting stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about this book that I have here in front of me called Smarter, Faster, Better, which is written by Charles Duhigg, the guy that wrote The Power of Habit. So a lot of you guys have read The Power of Habit or at least seen it around. This is Charles Duhigg's latest book, and so we're going to talk about some of the concepts in that. But before we do, the junior grandmaster himself in the co-pilot seat, Greg McDaniel, how are you today?
What up, Johnson? I'm good, dude. Yes, I am exhausted, man. I'm in the fight against fat. I think I have made this comment. I'm fighting the good fight, man. Fighting the good fight.
All right, good.
So I'm getting up on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, and instead of laying there like just a fat blob on the couch, I'm like, all right, let's get up and go do something. So I get up every morning and I go for at least a 4-mile walk. And I always try to get myself lost in my own city, which is amazing how much cool shit you can find in your own city that you never see just by driving. Like, I found an apartment building completely, gated off and, looked at the bar to be, knocked down. That'd be a great investment buy for something. I found walking paths. I found these little restaurants. I found all kinds of cool shit on Saturday. But I walked 18,000 feet or steps. Bro, I was so exhausted. And then yesterday on Sunday, I got up and I did 10 or 15, about 8 or 10,000 steps. So feeling good about myself. Feeling good. The fat line is reducing. I'm making it crawl back into the hole from whence it came.
Making the fat crawl back into the hole from whence it came. That's funny. All right. So guys, we thank you first of all for joining us. If you're watching here on Facebook Live, we appreciate it. Guys, tell us where you are from. When you hear or see something that you really like, make sure to hit that like and heart button. We appreciate it. That tells Facebook that you are enjoying it and serves the podcast up to more people that can be helped. Speaking of helping people, I want to help Megan Baker from the Lead Gen Script and Objections group because she has a question that I think is very pertinent. We're coming up on July 4th weekend, which is also the day before my birthday, and she wants to know, what are your thoughts on hosting an open house on the 4th of July weekend? It would be Saturday the 1st, thinking to make it really fun with gift bags, a contest, red, white, and blue snow cones, yada, yada, or should just not bother on a holiday weekend?
Just don't bother. Are you fucking kidding me?
That bad?
I mean, dude, she's going to have your snow cones all to herself, so I hope she goes there hungry. Ooh, snacks! There's just not a lot that happens. I mean, we've done them on holiday weekends. We do morons. We actually did one on, Super Bowl Sunday and stuff like that. Crickets during the game. Some people came right after the game. Some people came during the halftime show. But, I mean, overall, dude, go drink some beer, do some barbecuing, chill back, throw your feet up, go jump in the pool. Have some fun, live a little bit. It's not all about work, weekend before.
Oh man, it just reminds me of you incredulously saying, what are we doing a podcast on July 3rd for? How dare we?
That's just stupid. I mean, come on. I definitely would not recommend it.
Okay.
Jamil, what's going on? Andrew, what up, playa? Guys, this is Andrew. He is the owner of LiveLeap. So if you guys are watching me from a group right now, see that little says, syndicated by LiveLeap. If you guys want to figure out how to go live to a bunch of places, just bam, one click of a button, go check it out. There's a free trial if you guys want to give it a run and see what's happening, man. It's awesome stuff.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about there's a question here, a comment, I guess, as well, in terms of they went and bought leads from a lead provider. I won't mention them here because they ended up having a bad experience and left the company and stuff like that. But it brings up a good point, which is the leads from Facebook that you get from a company, whether you run them yourself or whether you have a company generate leads on Facebook. There's a lot of people that comment and talk about how the leads that are generated on Facebook are either not good or they're liars. The time frame is way out there and stuff like that. So I wanted to go into that a little bit and just talk about what is a good lead on Facebook, Greg, and what do you consider, good internet lead versus a bad internet lead. So how do you look at that when you get a lead come in through, like, let's say prime seller leads that was generated on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you expect out of that lead, and what do you consider good versus bad?
I expect very little out of online leads because I know that there's a large majority of just tire kickers out there. But what I would like to see, what I consider a good lead, is someone who is initially starting the search. They are not working with an agent, and there's an opportunity to build a relationship. That would be my perfect type of lead right out of the gate. I mean, of course, who doesn't want to come list me lead, or hey, can you open this door? I'm not working with an agent. And I need to buy a house. I mean, that's obviously what we're ultimately going for. But in reality, the online leads are more of a nurture. And let's be really clear about something, when it comes to this stuff, guys. When you get an online, air quotes, lead, it's not a fucking lead, all right? It's a respondent. Let's make that very clear. They are responding to an action online. It does not mean it is a lead. It's a respondent. It's your job to nurture it, bring it to fruition, so that it becomes a lead. Well, it goes from a respondent to a suspect, from a suspect to a prospect to a client to a past client. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's how the journey goes with online leads. So if you are using Prime Seller, if you're using whatever other organization out there to get leads, don't get upset and have the expectations set so high that you demand come list me, appointments or active buyers from people doing work in a very short amount of time. I mean, there's an individual I was made aware of that got very, very upset at an organization because they were not delivering to this human being 8 or 10 come list me appointments, and this guy only waited 8 days to start jumping down the throats of this lead generation company and kicking their tonsils in. Completely unrealistic. Completely unrealistic and asinine. You've got to give it time. It's a long tail play. It's not a short play. It's a long tail play. So you got to be willing to put the money, the time, the energy for follow-up, nurture, and the whole 9 yards. Because if you do online leads, you're going to get inundated with a ton of leads. Once you get inundated with them, you have to have the systems in place. And yes, Matt, I did say systems without shivering. It's amazing. The pills are working. And
the pills are working.
Pills are working.
Finally. You don't even know about the ones that I had somebody sneak into your drink.
What? But I mean, it's really one of those things. I mean, I think that everyone can be their own lead generation site and system themselves. Okay. I think that if they do Facebook Live, I think if they do a lot of stuff like that, that's free to you, and you bring relevant information and content to the masses, that you're going to then become that go-to person. So I don't think you really need to buy leads. I really don't think so, Matt. I mean, what do you think?
Well, it's an issue of getting there faster. So when I think of like online lead generation, I think in terms of taking your database from the people that and you have a personal connection with, and adding in those people gives you a wider pool of people to market to hopefully pull out deals, not faster in the sense that it comes right now, but get you to, like, if you're trying to go from 20 to 40 deals, you may not be able to find those extra 20 deals in the people that you already know. So either you have to get to the people that they know by strategic referrals and things like that, the things that we talk about in Getting Out Business, actually, or you can go over the top and you can go straight to the people that you don't know through online lead generation and try to pull them in and get to know them and build that connection with them. But most likely they're not going to have a need, like you said, to do something right this second. So your job is to then, they've expressed that they will have a need essentially sometime in the next couple of years. Your job is to kind of find those people. Yeah, maybe there'll be some low-hanging fruit, but for the most part, you look at it in terms of, hey, these are people that I want to nurture and build that connection with over the next year and a half, because that's when they'll start to pop, right? Oh. I mean, and that's what like Jeff Cohn with 100,000 calls across his agents and ISAs made last year proved, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt. In an average market, it's about 150 calls to get a deal. That's over the course of about 180 days. So as long as you plan for that, and your goal is, hey, I want to get to my big goal faster. I want to get there in, let's say, a year instead of 2 years. I think that's the right way to look at online lead generation. It's not in the sense that it's going to bring you deals right now, but it will get you to a bigger goal faster than just working your database, just working your referrals. Because we all know, like, there's only so much, right? There's only so many deals in your database unless you're very good at training your database to refer you to other people. And that's a whole other subject. We talk about that in Getting Out Business. So check that out, guys. But most of us, we're not in the 100 to 150 people that we can keep in touch with on a personal basis. There's just not as many deals in that every year as we would like to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's when I talk to people and they're like, I work only a referral-based business. I'm like, okay, well, it's like taking a drink out of a cup of water. You can't take a drink out of a cup that has no water in it, okay? So to build that referral-based business, that's the way you want to go do it. You've got to put, continually refilling that cup or that bucket, whatever analogy you want to use. You can use them from online leads. You can use it from offline leads. You can go high-tech, you can go high-touch, but there has to be some sort of alternative outside force that's bringing people to you like a fly to light, so that you can then start working on them and nurturing them and building them into the kind of client that you want to work with. Mm-hmm. People that naively think that well, I'm just going to work my sphere of influence and this is going to be perfect, right? Well, yeah, that's theoretically accurate, but it's not 100% accurate, because you can't work something that's not there, and that's the problem.
Well, yeah, and that's why the average agent does 5 deals a year. Because they work their sphere of influence. Now, they do it poorly, granted. If you do it at a high level, you'll get more deals than that, but maybe 2 or 3 times that. I mean, you can do 1, 2, 3 deals a month. It just depends on what your goal is. So, guys, we got a good question here from Walter, and then Rob St. John has a good question, too. So Walter says, for cold calling, would you say quantity or quality is more important? By quantity, you mean number of calls, and by quality, he means asking lots of questions. So when you think about cold calling, Greg, do you look for, hey, let's just burn through the calls, or do you put a premium on good quality conversations where you actually get into asking them a lot of questions?
Both. It really depends on what you're trying to do. So, I want to burn through as many calls as I humanly can in the shortest amount of time. But if my job is to go out there and meet people, so if I go out there and I have an opportunity to meet and talk with someone, I'm not going to push them aside just so I can get another couple of calls done as fast as I can. I will stop and sit and enjoy a conversation. So I get a hold of Matt, Julie, or 3 obese little wood denting, insulin sucking little babies, little dump trucks, and I would sit there and talk to you because I would want to have, that relationship built. And if you're thinking about doing something great, you're exactly the reason why I'm out there, and if I didn't have an opportunity to talk to you, then I'm going to chew through this stuff, or someone says they're not going to be willing to do anything. Okay, hey, not a problem. I do my, go for no script and keep on moving. Mm-hmm. But if I don't get anybody, then I'm going to chew through them. But if there's a good opportunity for a conversation to be built, 100,000% I'm in.
I think we deal a lot with this when we're coaching the ISA team at Prime Seller Leads, because it's hard to get a gauge on whether their performance is going up, down, sideways, or whatever, because the amount of time that they spend on the calls changes. And because they're also we're coaching them on having good and better quality conversations. So it's a little bit hard to you want the number of, let's say, your outbound dials. Like, you want those outbound dials to go up, but not astronomically. You don't want to sacrifice the number of calls that you're making on the altar of not having good conversations with people that actually leads to appointments, because that's what actually leads to appointments, right? It's getting into the conversations where they ask questions and stuff. I think, Walter, to answer your question, internally, you yourself, when you're having that conversation that is not going anywhere other than just having a good conversation, if it's not somebody that's in your database, you have to figure out for yourself how to gracefully exit that conversation and get on to the next call. And you have to recognize when you are trying to escape the task of doing something that you don't want to do by allowing a conversation to go longer than you should. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, if you're just sitting there and you have grandmama, who's sitting there and rambling about, she's been
don't be talking about my grandmama.
Grandmama.
Come on now.
Oh, Nana.
That actually is what I call my grandma. That's why.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. So go ahead, Greg. Insult grandmama. Go right ahead.
Grandmama. We should be in a Will Ferrell movie right now. Well, grandmama. Yes, grandmama. But no, Mom! Meatloaf!
Meatloaf! All right, go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, my God. We digress so awesomely. But it really is. If Grandmama Johnson is going to be sitting there blabbering on about God knows what forever, and you don't know her from Adam, good. You know what? Protect your time, protect your prospecting. Say, you know what? Mrs. Johnson, you are an absolute sweetheart. You've made my day. I really appreciate it. But what I need to do now is I need to keep calling. This is my money time. This is my business time. You can respect that. And I would love to get back with you. We can talk some more at a later time. Is that okay? And then you just keep moving forward from there. But yeah, I mean, if she's not selling, she's going to be there. She's picking out her plot in the backyard to be buried 6 feet in. Dude, keep on trucking, homeboy. I mean, I get a lot of people saying, like, the kids are going to get it. They're going to die there, this and another thing. I'm like, great. All right, good to see you. Bloop, moving on. No need to fuck around with you. Let's just move.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here's why. So I think the progression of what happens is this: like if you're consistent in whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to track, right? You'll at first you're tracking like the input, like the effort that you put in, the number of calls, the number of whatever. But eventually it gets to the point where you kind of get an idea of how much effort leads to the result that you want, and then you shift from tracking the effort to tracking the result, right? So Walter, to answer your question, you go from starting out by tracking things like calls, and Stefan has a great point. I have an idea. Just get on the phone and dial. That's great when you're just getting started. So you go through that evolution of, hey, just hit the phones and dial. Just do your lead generation. Just do it. But as you mature and you go further along that process, what happens is you get better at knowing what amount of effort gives me the result that I want. And then you can start tracking the result and not the effort. Hopefully that makes sense. So you go from tracking things like how many calls did I make or how many hours did I spend lead generating over to how many appointments, how many listings, right? You can start tracking different things as you get better at connecting the efforts to the outcome.
Yep, 100%. 100%. We had a couple other questions. One of them, I think, is Arman. Did I say that name right?
Aram.
Aram. I always fuck that name up, dude. Sorry. You know that.
I hope that's it. If it's not, it's Aram, and we're sorry for both because either way somehow we've mispronounced it.
We suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that does not count. A wrong number does not count. It's just a wrong number.
Yeah. Yep. Greg, would you count it? It definitely doesn't count as a contact. Do you count it as a dial though?
Oh yeah, it's a dial for sure.
Okay, it's a dial. Yeah. All right. So there's a really, really good question. Jameson says, what's the best way to get from 50 or 60 deals annually to 100? And he says, single agent, no assistant. So I have a really easy answer for this, Greg. What's yours?
Go for it, man.
Can I go?
Dazzled.
Get an assistant.
It's so true, though. It's so true. I mean, all that legwork that you're doing on your own, dude, if you just offset that and delegate that out, that's one of the biggest things that you can do as a true leader is learning how to delegate out tasks. If it's a $12 to $15 an hour item and you're worth $150, $200 an hour, stop doing the fucking $12 to $15 dollar productive activities an hour. Move that on to somebody else. They will free you up to go do so much other cool stuff in your business. And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable when you can have other people do it because then you're letting them do their strengths as well. So you're ultimately letting them shine.
Yeah, this is so it's funny that you mentioned that. It's funny that this came up because I was kicking myself this weekend and realized that part of the reason that I was stressing myself out was because I wasn't taking advantage of the staff that I have in the right way. And this is the big breakthrough insight from books like the True Professional and Managing the Professional Service Firm, which is we think that we can do something better because we're more skilled at it and we're more experienced. And so when we turn it over, the best that we're looking for is for them not to fuck it up, basically, right? Mm-hmm. The big revelation from these books, and if you approach it right, is that it's actually the opposite, right? So yeah, you may be more skilled and you may be more experienced, but you're not motivated and you don't want to do the task because you know it's beneath you, and so you're actually half-assing it. And so it's much better to turn it over to somebody that maybe they don't have as much experience and they don't yet have the skill, but to them, it's an opportunity to prove themselves, and they want to do a phenomenal job at this. Like, it's the next step up for them. It connects to their goals. Like if you do it right, if you put it in the right person's hands, it connects to their goals. It connects to their objectives. They want to learn it. They're enthusiastic about it. That will actually get you a better result than you doing it yourself and half-assing it. So that was the big aha moment for me this weekend. Was like I was sitting there building a Facebook ad on Friday and it was taking twice as long as I wanted to.
You were so butthurt about that. You were so butthurt.
What the fuck? I'm like, what is going on here? And I realized I'm like, newsflash, I shouldn't be doing this. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? So anyway, so I'm passing that along, and there were some other things that I was doing too. Like I was taking too much responsibility over active client management for the ongoing podcast that we already produce, which is holding me back from doing things on the lead generation side. I was allowing myself to use that stuff as an excuse to keep from lead generating and doing the things that will bring in more business, because I felt like if I don't do that stuff, the quality level will drop off. And that's my own effed up mindset.
At least you admit it now. Step 2 is washing it out.
The process is this week. That's my mission for this week, is to train both of my guys, my operations manager and my guest booking specialist, to hire and supervise their own VAs, to make them to do their lower value tasks, to make them more productive, to make them better leaders, and then to take some of the stuff that I've been doing that's kind of in that middle range of skill set and give that to them so that they can run with it and I can move on to higher value stuff.
Oh, 100%.
That is how you go from 50 deals a year to 100 deals a year.
Yeah, and you don't have to buy any fancy bells or whistles or any other bullshit. Just learn how to delegate and get it done and just pass it on. Like, I pass shit on to Matt all the time. It's very rewarding to delegate it to Matt.
And then it's very rewarding for me to go, sorry, Greg, and pass it right off to Leslie, our show producer. It just rolls right out like water off a duck's back. Greg tries to throw it back at me, and I throw it right on to somebody else. And screw you, Greg. Oh my God, that's funny. All right, guys. So Greg put the link to Get Now Business in the in the Facebook here. So it's getnowbusiness.com. That new class, the new run of that class, starts on July 10th. It is the second Monday in July. It runs through the remaining July, Mondays, all the way up to the 31st. And Rob St. John has a really good question that I want to cover because it very closely ties in with what we're training in that class. So he says, question, I have a new buyer's agent we brought on. She's getting really, really wrapped up and getting ready to get ready. She comes from the nonprofit world, has a track record of success in other brokers, but now that she's getting exposed to all the other training KW offers, she's actually chasing a lot of squirrels instead of lead generating. Do you have any thoughts on helping her get focused on generating business on a daily basis? And it reminded me of one of the guys in the Get Now Business class who is a buyer's agent on a team. I don't think he's with KW, maybe he is, I don't know. But he's a buyer's agent on a team and is dealing with the same thing. And the overwhelm of choice, right? And as much as I love the whole podcast movement, all that stuff, like a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the podcast are tactics. And without the right strategy in place, the second you start to put this tactic and that tactic together, you're basically operating on a strategy, except you have no idea what your strategy is. And you don't know why you're doing these little isolated ideas and little tactics. So the way that we solve that in the Get Now Business is we give you like a strategic framework so that like if you're a new agent or if you are an agent that like you need commissions in 90 days, like we basically take you through a process of like, hey, here's where you start. Here are the actions step by step to get people into your pipeline that are ready to do business with you in the next 90 days. And whether you go through our class or not, that is the way to get somebody off of that fence and out of that analysis paralysis is they need an execution plan that's drop dead simple. If you have to write it out for them, great. If you want to send them to our class, great. But however you got to get it done, they need a plan that cuts out all the overwhelm and takes it from the idea of like, this world of unlimited choice that we have as agents and as consultants and independent business owners, and gives them something that they can put the blinders on and just pull this out every day and say, this is what I got to do today.
Yeah, and that's one of the most valuable things to do is eliminate the choices. Yeah. Focus on the core values. Find out the big why, why are they doing this? Why are they chasing X, Y, and Z? Why do they want buyers? Why do they want sellers? I mean, what are they doing? Why in the industry? Really drill down on that why and then focus in on the one thing that's going to get them to that ultimate goal. Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, is fantastic. You can have a dozen things up here all running simultaneously to achieve, but it goes down to one sole thing that you're going after, not 10 things you're going after, one thing you're going after. For me, for my real estate business, here in the area, I'm working to do what I can to become the Coca-Cola of real estate. I want people just to think of the McDaniel Callahan team as the real estate specialists here in the area. For the podcast, Matt and I want to be the number one real estate podcast out there in the area because we bring so much tremendous value. And we have such a great range of guests that agents can go watch this podcast and they can get tens of thousands of dollars worth of coaching at 100% free. But that's like the entry level. And then if you guys want to go deeper, then you buy one of the courses or something like that Matt and I have, put together so you guys can go deeper on certain different, aspects of the business and get hyper local knowledge. about that particular item or knowledge skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just did listen to this podcast, and we can change people's lives, that's why Matt and I spend 3 days a week staring at each other's ugly mugs, going, "Oh God, you again." Fuck! I thought I paid the hitman. But
thanks, Greg. Love you too, man. Love you too.
No, but the thing is that Matt and I spend not Saturdays, Friday afternoons. We spend Friday afternoons. Why do I keep on saying Saturdays? Friday afternoons.
I don't know, but I don't want to spend Saturday afternoons with you, Greg.
Fuck no, hell no. I got other shit.
You're out there doing your steps.
I'm good. My aerobic. Definitely fun.
Uh-huh.
But go out there and we Friday afternoons we mastermind, we brainstorm, we basically beat our heads against cement blocks trying to figure out why fucking shit isn't working in some parts of aspects of whatever we're trying to challenge that day. We're like boom, boom, but then we always come together and we put together a plan, we put together a strategy, we put together our next steps for what we're doing. And that is what keeps our podcast on track. So you guys need to do the exact same thing for your real estate business. Have that mastermind time. Have that reflection time. Frank Klevitz, I think I said his name right. Anyways.
Klezitz.
Close. Frank Klevitz. Man Bear Beast.
Man Bear Beast.
But if you ever meet him, he's huge. He's bigger than me, and I'm 6'5", dude. I looked at him like, damn. It's like a grizzly standing on hind legs. Like, whoa. But the thing is that he has his thinking time every day, which is his gym time and everything else. But it's important to set that time aside to go think, reflect, what's working, what's not working, what do you like, what do you don't like. I mean, today, fuck it, dude, it's 105 outside. You think I want to wear jeans? No way, Jose. Do I got flip-flops on, shorts, and a polo shirt on? I am the happiest guy on planet Earth, and I've gotten more work done today because I'm happy about what I'm doing. But I have my why, I have my end goal set into place. We got a bunch of other questions. I know we saw a bunch of questions coming in.
Yeah, I was going back through them, and this is a really good one. Jake Trammell says, "Afternoon, fellas. About how many contacts do you expect your dialers to make per day?"
Contacts or dials? That's two totally different questions.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I was going to say we've got dials, and you can make 500 to 1,000 dials in an 8-hour shift. Greg, what would you expect that in your area? What would you expect that to actually translate in terms of contacts?
I'm getting about a 13% connectivity rate. So, I mean, out of 100, 200 phone calls, I mean, you probably get 15 to 20. But I mean, if I was you, I would definitely, push. If they're dedicated dialers, 50 no's every day. I don't give a fuck how many dials they did. 50 no's. That will blow the doors off of your appointments. If you do it right now, talk to your dialers, say you got 1 or 2 dialers. Like, okay, Becky, John, 50 no's, 5 days a week, go. Don't come back until you get them. Bye. Okay. That's all you need to do.
Okay. Cool. I like it. Kevin Mark says, do you guys have any CRMs in mind that are free to use when money is tight and just starting out? RNA had a great point, which is that she used Google Sheets until she could afford anything. Same thing with Jeff Cohn. Started out, ran his business for the first 5 years or whatever on Excel spreadsheets, which then went to Google Sheets, and now they're into Boomtown. So they essentially jumped straight from spreadsheets to the Cadillac of lead generation and CRM systems. So you definitely don't need anything complicated, anything costly. Lion Desk we've heard great things about. Top Producer obviously is great. That's what you use internally, Greg. And then what I use personally is HubSpot, which is free. Full featured CRM, import, export, the whole 9 yards. Great for, you can put your action kind of plans together. It's free. It is not made for real estate, so do not expect it to manage the back end of your transactions or be integrated with Loop or anything like that. But if you just want something that's a step up from a spreadsheet, a place to kind of take everybody out of your email list and everybody out of your Gmail and everybody out of your Outlook and just throw it into one system so you can keep track of who's who, that is a great place to do it. So Rebecca Hamilton has a comment, says, I keep going in a million different directions and it seems like it's slowing me down. I want a plan, but I keep adding to it and then end up off track. So I just wanted to give a quick tip. And this is actually from this book right there, Scale, back on the shelf behind me. if you want to quickly narrow down a list of ideas and all the possible things that you could do to grow your business down to what you should do, and the most helpful question that I found to ask, which is what is in that book, is to ask yourself, what is the biggest limiting factor in my business right now? Mm-hmm. All right, so what is the thing that's holding back the flow of leads, the flow of clients, the flow of commission checks into me right now? Is it that I don't have enough conversations? Do I just not know enough people? Or do I have all the information, but I'm not making enough calls? I'm not doing enough open houses? Like, what's the biggest limiting factor? Is it that I don't have enough people to talk to? I have plenty of people to talk to, but I'm not talking to them? Or is that I'm talking to a lot of people, but they aren't turning into clients? Because those are three very different problems. And knowing that problem is 90% of the battle to picking something that's going to address that biggest issue. So think about it in terms of what's the biggest thing that's holding me back and limiting the business right now. And then you just go through your list of all your little ideas and things like that you'd like to do, and just immediately knock off the list anything that doesn't address that biggest limiting factor. And that will help eliminate most of the random ideas that we have that aren't going to really make a difference on our business right now.
Yeah, but you have to also be open to creativity. If you're that's a crazy idea.
Shut up.
Shush. You're going to spill water all over the place. But I mean, creativity, guys. Be creative. Be spontaneous. Go do things that you want to do. Like one of the things that, since I'm in the fighting the good fight against fat, if I want to spend more time at the gym, go spend more time at the gym. But get a shirt that says want to buy or sell real estate this year, or what's your home worth, or come up with something creative. Because if you're talking to people in the gym in the middle of the damn day, there's two people that go to the gym in the middle of the day: broke ass fools and people that can afford to do it. Okay. So go talk to the person with a really nice workout outfit on. Okay. Don't talk to the scrub who's walking in like 3-year-old pair of like sweatpants with holes in them and oil stains on them.
Oh, you mean the guy working out in jeans and Vans is not the best candidate to buy $1 million house in Silicon Valley?
Probably not.
That guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. But I mean, be open to alternative things. I mean, you guys always say that, look, you don't have enough leads. Well, then that's your own fucking problem. You're the one that's not being creative. You're making that such a big part of your life because you're only viewing it through the lens of what you've been told. Like, I have to buy Zillow leads, Truly leads, I have to get online leads, I have to be pay-per-click, I have to do all this other bullshit. Guys, you yourself have this funny looking little thing right here. They're called business cards. You can take it and you can use it. Here's a revolutionary, Johnson. You go out and you hand out 25 of these things every single day to every human being you come in contact with. For everyone on iTunes and Stitcher, it is a baseball card. It's a business card I'm holding up.
If you get a custom baseball card of you, I will send a hitman for you. If I find out that there's such a thing as tradable Greg McDaniel baseball cards, we're done.
Oh, we are so doing that. That is a genius idea, Johnson. Find someone that we can make stats on and we can trade. All of us can trade each other. Like, Johnson had a bad year. He's going to be a little bit low on this. I'll take one Johnson for McDaniel and a Jackson, original
right.
McDaniel.
That's right. What's my power? What's my level up power? My +1 or whatever.
What?
Card game. Anyway, we'll forget about that. We got a question to take. So Harmon Ray, I'm not quite sure the pronunciation of the last name, but Harmon asks, do you have your sellers pay for marketing if the home is not selling, especially when it's in the multi-million-dollar price range where they take a long time to sell? Would you have them pay for marketing?
No. It's your job to do the. It's your job to get it sold, man. That's why they hired your bitch ass. So, I mean, if it's a higher priced property in a higher price area, then you need to have client control 100% of the time because you need to instruct and lead and guide that seller down the proper path of pricing, timing, expectations, the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, you can try it. We've never done it. We take that on as part of our cost. Besides, a lot of the stuff you can do now, guys, is 100% free. I mean, did you all know that you can put a 2-minute ad onto Zillow at zero cost where everybody can watch your ad or your video? I mean, you guys can do Facebook Lives. You can do Instagram photos. You can do Instagram Lives. You can do YouTube Lives. You can do Periscope Lives. You can showcase this property around the world at zero or low cost basis. So the reason why it's not selling is because it's overpriced. End of story. I have a listing right now that my seller, I gave him enough leash to let him hang himself. I told him if we price it at this certain price, he's probably not going to get there, but I'd let him try. Dude, we had $1 million offer on the table. He rejected the $1 million offer. Now we're getting offers $950. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I can get it done right now for another price. But unfortunately, my sellers didn't see it, and now it's not. Now I have to have a come to Jesus moment conversation with them. But I would never go back to him and say, hey, it's not selling. You owe me X, Y, and Z for marketing. That's part of your professional package that you can deliver. And again, Matt, you and I have talked about it in the past. So different levels, different packages, different price points, all of that stuff. So I mean, you could structure it like that if you wanted to have them, pay for the marketing. There's all kinds of things you can do.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to me to watch because my girlfriend Kristen works for a local brokerage here in Temecula, and they just took a multi-million dollar list, like it makes you go multi-million dollar listing, and they it is hilarious, demoralizing and hilarious to watch from the outside as they do mental gymnastics over what they're going to do to market this property, most of which is horrible idea or no idea at all, and doing everything. Their first instinct is to do everything on the cheap.
Of course it is.
Right?
You know what we should do? I got it. Let's get custom toilet paper with a photo of the house and the address and our team logo. What do you think?
That you're going to put inside the house?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to draw a lot of people
toilet
in.
Paper.
I mean, imagine if they're already walking through the house, they'll be very excited to see that toilet paper as they walk through the house.
Then you can give it to all the people that come through, so they all have poo-poo paper with your home's photo on it. Poo-poo paper.
Yeah, it blows my mind that this is it's a huge commission, and they can't get together and decide to even bring in a high quality videographer to do a good professional video of the home that actually tells a story about the lifestyle and the selling points of the home. They can barely come up with what are the selling points of the home. It's absolutely, it's mind boggling.
Dude, okay, so I was up with Andrew with Lively, right? And then we were recording 2 weeks ago with him. He was showing me some videos of what other people are doing. Dude, I've never seen this done before. It is super fucking cool. What they do is they go out and they hire actors and actresses, and then a nice videographer, and they basically show the life of what it could be like to live in that home. So like these actors and actors, like the actor got up from bed and kind of cruised out to the kitchen and made some coffee. The wifey poo got up a little bit later, cruised out and hung out with him on this beautiful veranda overlooking the sunrise and everything else. And I'm like, interesting thought. So let's say that thing costs $1,000 to do, right? But you're making a $40,000-$50,000 commission. I'm not a mathematician, but that seems like a pretty good return. Okay. But I mean, do something simple like that, because people don't buy just 4 walls and a roof. They buy the entire experience. They buy everything around where they're buying now. So why not give them those mental, masturbation, gymnastics? Like, ooh, I could be that. Ooh, I could have this. I could have that kind of life. My wife's going to look like this. Oh, nope. Back to reality. No, she doesn't. But you know what? It can be anything that you paint the picture of. Yeah. That's creative shit right there, man. And I'll actually get to the name of the videographer for that one, Aaron Mitchell. I got to read Aaron. Dude, speaking of Aaron Mitchell, dude. Okay, total tangent.
Wow, you are taking a major tangent. All right, go ahead.
I got to share this with you guys. Any of you guys, Aaron, dude, I love you, bro. This is for you, man. So this is he got this response for sale by owner. This is Aaron. Aaron wanted to reach out to him and kind of just talk to him about potentially what he's doing with his house. Okay. Fizbo for sale by owner. Bro, go fuck yourself. Smiley face. Can't stand bitch ass agents like you, Aaron. Thank you, Fizbo. Anytime. Sorry to take you away from your cold calling busy agent with huge database. Aaron, don't get emotional. It's just business. Let me know if I can show or view it. I really do not want the listing. Right. Take your own advice, LOL. Don't say bitch shit and then run away. The fuck just happened?
Wow. That's schizophrenic territory right there.
Oh
That's
so if
funny.
you guys think you're having a bad day, just think about that text message that Aaron had to deal with today. And then you're really going to get down to your real why, because handling that kind of crazy is a whole new level of concentration.
That's funny. All right. We got a really good question here from Kelly Nutt. Says how to counter Zillow's instant offer.
How to counter Zillow's instant offer? Mm-hmm. I have not gone into Zillow and taken a look at their instant offer enough to really have an answer for that, except for the fact that I would probably say, look, they're going to give you less than market value because they're trying to get a deal that's now. So if you need now cash, then that might be a good opportunity for you. But I mean, why wouldn't you work with an agent who's statistically proven that you'll make about 40 grand more using an agent versus just taking the first offer that comes along from some investment broker? They're not looking at you. They don't have your best interest in heart. Mm-hmm. Do they have their bottom line in heart? Because they're going to flip that thing. They're there to make money. They're not there to protect your interests. Let's be real clear about that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably the best way to do it too, is to point out like, hey, the reason that they're buying it is to make a profit on it, and therefore what's going to happen is they're automatically going to make you an offer that's less than what you could get if you were to sell it, with an agent and sell it on the open market to a buyer. And then I would lead that conversation into a conversation of, really comes down to like, what price range are you looking to sell in? The low end, where an investor might be able to touch that, or someone might be able to come in and they just, they fix it up for themselves to live in? Or do you want to sell it at the top of the range where the buyers are coming in and expecting it to be move-in ready, and you're willing to get the home to the point where it is depersonalized and move-in ready so that it gets the absolute top of the market price and it sells in the very shortest amount of time possible, because it absolutely blows away the buyers and makes them fall in love with it as soon as they see it? Those are two very different goals, and either one of them are okay. You just have to decide what you want and what makes the most sense for your situation, and I'm here to help either way you decide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I think we're going to really, I'm wondering, I'm waiting to see what kind of blowback Zillow is going to get from this instant offer thing, because they've made multiple statements to the fact that they're never going to get into the real estate industry, into the business. They did. Okay.
Right.
So what's going to happen? I think they might be too big for anybody to really give a fuck, and it to really be effective and a negative effect on them. But, you piss enough agents off and they stop buying your ads, well, toodaloos, big Zill.
Well, let's talk about I put up a question here in the comments here. James Colburn says, instant offer is a test balloon to gauge reaction. They bought .loop. They're coming. Embrace yourself. Good point. I think they are making an attempt. We'll see how it goes. I mentioned this before. Like anybody that can potentially take the complexity out of the real estate transaction has a shot at disrupting the industry. And if that is what gets the complexity out of it, is hooking up investors, the people that are willing to make an instant offer. If that does it, that's great. And for the right people, it'll be fine. I don't think this is going to take over the entire real estate industry and change the face of real estate as we know it, because it doesn't solve the problem of getting people the most amount of money for their time investment, right? And saving people the biggest amount of equity. So anyway.
Right. We'll see what happens. Yeah. And, James, dude, hey, home skillet. Still doing my cards, playa.
That's right. All right. So I put the question here, what's your biggest limiting factor right now? And Paul Franklin says consistency. Mark Levinson says time. I want to address both of these. Let's talk about time first. So Mark's biggest limiting factor is time. I would challenge that and say that if you believe, because I've run up against this too, if you believe that your biggest limiting factor is time, what's actually your biggest limiting factor is the lack of the ability to prioritize. Greg, what do you say?
Yeah, organizing your day and sticking to your schedule is paramount to your success. If you run around like a schizophrenic, then yeah, it's not going to work. Your day's not going to work out so well, because you're going to be here and there and all over the place, because you're always running to or away from something. If you stick to your calendar, I mean, one of our good buddies here on the show, Hank Avix, Coach Hank, he was beating me up on my schedule. I thought I had a pretty good fucking schedule, right? Well, apparently not. He showed me his schedule. I'm like, I just got dizzy and snow blindness. Holy crap, I gotta sit down. I gotta take a breath. But he controls a schedule with an iron fist, and he doesn't deviate from it, and that is what makes him so successful. So if you guys are not controlling your day with an iron fist and letting people come in and out of your day and distract you and disrupt you from your productivity, then that is on you. Don't complain to anybody else that you're not getting where you want to be because of this, that, and another thing. No. It's you, home skillet. You are the problem. So you can either win or lose on a daily basis. Your next decision that you make can be either towards the solution or back to the problem that you're continuing to have. But every single decision leads you to either one of the two directions. You can't go both. You have to make a decision on every single decision. A choice on which way you want to go every single time. It's literally like turning left or turning right. You're going to make one of the decisions and you're going to go down it. So if you guys want to control and make more money in the second and third and fourth quarter of this year, then you need to sit down after this podcast, put down in your calendar exactly what you need to do. Now there's a video of a professor walks in with a jar and he fills up the jar with golf balls, and then he puts rocks, and then he puts sand, and then he puts beer to fill the whole thing up. And the golf balls are those things in your calendar that you cannot, should not, will not move for anything. Those are the massive things: family, spouse time, work, appointments. The things that you have to do. Go to the gym.
Friday Scotch episodes.
Exactly.
That's
which
right.
you
the important
are just horribly failing at.
That's right.
God, man. You've got to start drinking on the show.
I know.
What do you think this is?
All right, so I have, let's see, besides the prioritization thing, I have a couple more comments to make on the whole time thing. So number one is, before you get to what we talked about earlier, which is hiring an assistant and leveraging with people, there are two other things to leverage up first. Number one is your skills, and number two is systematizing and using technology to leverage your time. So if you feel like you're running out of time, you can leverage up your skills by making yourself more productive by script role play, so that the more people that you're talking to, those are actually leading to more transactions. So you have to have fewer conversations to bring in the same amount of business. You can also look at how can I leverage by streamlining what I'm doing. So anything that you do more than once, create a little checklist for it. Just as if you were training somebody else to do it. Even if you never train somebody else to do it and you stay a solo agent for the rest of your life, forever and ever and amen, just systematizing and getting down what you do to where it's in a little checklist for yourself will streamline it and make you able to better go from one thing right to the next thing and just knock things out without a lot of new decision making going into it. There's so many agents. Tell me if I'm wrong, Greg.
You're wrong.
Every time they take a listing, it's starting from a blank sheet of paper. I got the listing, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. They don't have your step-by-step plan. Aaron Wittenstein, he's got a great step-by-step. If you guys go to freaking Pinterest, you can get a step-by-step plan. Go to your broker, go to your brokerage. There are tons of checklists that you guys can go get at a zero-cost basis and just stick to it until you figure out what you like. But it is so imperative. And that's why a good TC to handle a transaction coordinator, for all of you guys that don't know, a good TC is worth their weight in gold and then times 100. Our gal Denise, oh my God, I love that woman. If there's a dot on an I, that's out of place, she'll go, check mark, initials, change, get over there. But it allows you to leverage your time, and also it knows it helps me out spending my time where I need to spend my time, not chasing down paperwork.
Yeah.
Matt, you and I can both agree that chasing down paperwork is not the best use of any agent's time, nor are we good at it at all.
No, we're the worst. I can make myself be good at it if that's all I have to focus on, but literally it fills up my brain and it keeps me from doing the stuff that's way more important and coincidentally pays more. Right? That's the thing. Works. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's address Paul Franklin's question. How do you get more consistent, Greg? If you're struggling with consistency and that's the biggest thing separating you from success right now, how do you get more consistent?
If you want to be more consistent, Matt, prunes and prune juice.
I agree. I would throw in some Metamucil there too, but prunes and Metamucil, you heard it here first on Real Estate Uncensored. Go to it, guys. That's the key to success in real estate.
Consistency. Real estate. Just shitting all over you. So to be consistent is to have the reason why you're doing it, to have that big why. Like for me, it's never going to be broke again. It's ever being broke again, ever. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to work on the weekends. I'm willing to do the unfun things. I'm willing to sit down and do the calls. One, because I've gamified it and I've turned it into something entertaining and fun for me to do. A lot of people say, oh, I can't do cold calls because, oh my God, how could you possibly do that? Well, because I go out there and I see if I can find the biggest dick all day long. Like, who's the biggest cockroach out there? You're like, found him. You know, and it's just fun. It's laughable. Like Aaron Mitchell.
And you're testing new ideas. You're testing new scripts all the time. So you're gamifying it in other ways besides how can I find the biggest jack off. You're going on, you're actually trying things and you're tracking, and you know, like you've talked about how you used to go out on the doors and you would track like, all right, how many people, men versus women, how many people are home versus not home, how many doors am I doing an hour? Like you would find all these little metrics to kind of track yourself, and you'd run these little experiments. And it's funny because in this book, Smarter, Better, Faster by Charles Duhigg, he talks about that. There was a Chase Bank collections department that was like outperforming every collections department in the entire country.
Dicks.
And so they bring on the gal who, by the way, was just a nice like Southern Baptist gal, like super nice gal. She's the one that heads up the department. So they bring her in to like explain what her secrets to success are. And it was nothing special, but what she was doing was she was reviewing with her team what was working and what doesn't, and every day they were just running a new experiment. Mm-hmm. Every day. Like it wasn't anything like massively strategic that did it. It was just that they were just trying to refine their tactics a little bit every day. They were just experimenting. Mm-hmm. And the process of experimentation made them open to other possibilities, and it made them better at processing more information faster. So like Greg, you can hear things going on in the background. You can concentrate on other things like your tone and your phrasing and tonality, because you're not worrying about the actual words that are coming out of your mouth, because you've just done it for so long and you've run all these little experiments that it's not so much, you're not focused on yourself anymore and how nervous you are and what you're going to say. Now you can focus on a much deeper level. And that's what they pointed out about this department. They were so successful because they'd run all these experiments and they were looking for ways to improve every day and like sharing their results and sharing the feedback, to the point where these reps were able to pick out like, hey, when we do collections calls and there's soap operas playing in the background, we get better response rates. Most people can't even pick out what's going on in the background of a phone call, which I don't know that I could either. I don't do it enough either. But they could, because they were doing it and running. Yeah, so you can. And so that's the kind of thing, like if you want to be more consistent, make it fun, run little experiments that you can, test so that you build, like if you like variety and you hate the idea of doing the same things every day, then you have to find the variety within the consistency, if that makes sense to anybody. It's find a way to make the boring things that you do every day, to add variety into those things, to kind of give yourself that variety that your brain is looking for, because your brain is like starving for it sometimes. And I have that. I know you have that. Like you're hanging out on Facebook while you're doing your cold calls and you're talking to people. You're interact with the people. You're doing things to like add that variety into something that's otherwise boring.
Oh, I have, inappropriate laughing conversations with my team. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on the web searching stuff up. I'm constantly moving around. I'm doing some research, but I'm making it fun. If I'm going to sit my ass down and do 500 to 750 phone calls like I used to do every single day, I got to do something, man, because otherwise, end of story. You're going to want to fucking off yourself because it sucks on such an epically large level. But it's also going to be for working out, Matt. I was talking about at the beginning of the show how I'm in the fight against fat, and how I'm getting up and I'm going and doing walks and I'm exploring the area that I live in. I find myself going 5-6 miles now because I want to go get to that next destination and check it out and see what's going on, because I'm curious. So be in a state of curiosity consistently in this industry, and be always looking to see what can change and what you can do better. Once you get to be doing something better, then try to better that. Never sit back and be like, well, I've made it. No, you haven't. Dude, you've made it to the starting line. Let's be real. The real race is going to take place after you've recognized the fact that you're not at the top of the hill. There's always going to be someone bigger, better, badder, faster, smarter, prettier, handsomer, better shape, whatever, than you are. So you have got to be chasing it down. Matthew McConaughey says that he needs something to chase and something or other in his acceptance speech. We've all seen it, I'm sure. He's chasing himself in 10 years. He's never going to catch himself, but that's his hero. He's chasing that future version of him. And I always thought that was super interesting to kind of understand, like, who am I going to be in 10 years? I am 38 at this recording, shit, almost 30, well, 38 and a half. Damn it. But, you know, at 48, what am I going to be like? What's it going to be? What do I want to be? So with you guys, push yourself and do the same thing. I mean, that's one of the coolest things about it, because you can dictate and determine your future just by every single choice that you make in today. I mean, if you go through, you know, a short amount of now pain for future mass success, are you willing to go through the now pain to have the mass success? And if you say yes, but your actions don't change, then you ultimately said no. Johnson, what are you doing?
There, it just reminded me of this great quote. This is from Pasquale Scopoliti, who's been on the show before. He says, "Be clear. If your dream is going to come true, you will have to transform to be more than you are right now. Mm-hmm. The logic is inescapable. If you could have your dream right now the way you are, you would. And instead of being a dream, it would simply be your reality. The very fact that you have a dream says it really demands that you become better, stronger person yourself. It's this transformation within that makes it possible for your dream to come true."
Yeah, I mean, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that quote. And the other thing is that, you know, you're on a trajectory to reach your goals in your future, whatever it's going to be. But who you are now, could not handle the ultimate goal of success the way you are now. You just couldn't do it. That's why it's not here for you now.
Yeah.
And everybody else, I mean, Matt, you and I beat our heads against the cement blocks every Friday because we're like, why aren't we where we want to be? Well, it's because we probably couldn't handle it yet.
Right. Yes. If we could handle it, we'd have it right now.
Exactly.
That's right. All right. James Colburn has a great comment. It says, Real Estate 101, the goal is to find revenue-producing activities that celebrate and support our undiagnosed ADD. Oh, I love that. Oh, my God. That's awesome. Okay. We've got 4 minutes left. I want to cover this real quick. Kathleen says, Greg, what's your take on coaching for $1K a year? On coaching for $1K per. Maybe that's month. Greg, what's your take on coaching for $1,000? Well, let's just take that. $1,000 a month coaching. Greg, what's your take?
Sure. I'll give you my bank account. Let's drop it in. Let's get to work.
Greg's PayPal is?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
How many people have you turned down for one-on-one coaching at $500 to $1,000 a month?
Oh, I've turned down, it's going on 50 to 100, you know, and or more.
It's a lot.
I mean, there's a lot of people that have asked me. A lot of people just say, Greg, what's your number? I'll pay whatever you ask. It's an investment. I'm like, obviously you don't know me well enough. But no, in all seriousness, you guys, I mean, potentially Matt and I would do some sort of coaching, some sort of training or something like that. But in all honesty, just go watch the podcast. Okay. You're going to share that out. You're going to be able to get it for free. I mean, if you absolutely positively cannot live without being coached by one or both of us, Matt and I are toying with an idea of some sort of coaching. You know, you'd get a weekly call, one with Matt, one with me, one with Matt, one with me. So 2 calls with each of us every single month. And we haven't come up with a price point. If you guys like this idea, please message us. Let us know what's going on. We haven't come up on a pricing, but we're throwing it around out there because we're playing with the idea. If we get enough requests, we got to do something with it. Otherwise, we're just morons. Here's my credit card. No, I don't want your stinking money.
Slap it out. And that's effectively what we've done up until this point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a month, $1,000 a month, and I mean, there has to be a lot of value brought for $1,000 a month. But value is perceived differently by different people. You know, a lot of the times the ideas and things that we come up with that get people to that next stage in their businesses is just one little single idea. It's a mindset shift. It's something different in their lives, and they'll pay $1,000 all day, every day. And so it's
There's nothing wrong with $1,000 a month coaching if you're at the level where you can afford it. Yeah, she's talking about Tom Ferry specifically. Here's the problem that we have with guys like that. It is the tactics they use to get you into coaching and lock you in to the point of. Do you want to say it, Greg? To the point of
forcible rape.
Yeah. Well, that too. No, am I thinking of the right one that did like the credit dinging if you didn't pay? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So that's the problem we have with it. And if we had come out with the podcast and just immediately offered coaching, it would effectively cut off our best stuff from the people that need it the most, the people that need to get to the level where they can afford $1,000 a month for coaching. So if you can afford it, great. I would recommend you go somewhere else where you can get a small, more intimate personal relationship with the person that's actually coaching you, like Hank Aving, for example, or Andy Shear, who's been on the show before, Pillar 9 Coaching. I would go with one of those guys where you can have a really deep personal relationship, because that's where real transformation happens, is when you give somebody the authority to speak into your life and kick your ass. If you don't really give somebody that authority, it doesn't matter how much you pay for the coaching. If you don't respect that person and enough to let them pour into you like that, enough to tell you what to do and you go do it, then you might as well not be in group coaching. Don't get into coaching. Just watch the podcast, listen to other podcasts, get the information you need, and implement it the way you want to do it. Because if you're just going to do your own thing anyway, you can do that for free. The value of coaching is if you're going to submit yourself to say, hey, I want to be where you're at, and I'm going to do whatever you're going to tell me to do to get to where you are. If that's you, by all means, go do it. I mean, I told Pasquale when I first started coaching with him that if that's what he wanted out of me, that I would be the worst coaching client ever. Because if you look at my disc assessment, what is the number one value on my disc assessment, Greg?
Oh, God, I don't know. What is it?
Autonomy. Freedom. The ability to make my own choices. So what is the last thing I'm going to do? Say, Master, I will do whatever you say. Just tell me how to get to the top of the mountain. I will be the first to say, screw off. I will find my own way up the mountain.
And which you tell me all the time. Greg, fuck off. I'm like, that's right. You fuck off. But no, yeah.
All right. So that's all I got to say about that. We should wrap things up because I got to jump on with Chris Lockhead in a bit. We're going to do a little recording on personal category design. So, guys, if you liked Chris Lockhead's episode of the show, go back and watch it. It was about designing a legendary life and a legendary business. He is the author of that other book that's on the bookshelf back there called Play Bigger. And so we're doing a recording with him on how to apply the principles that work for Amazon and Google and some of the biggest companies in Silicon Valley in terms of how they design categories and how we can use that for ourselves. And we're going to put that into like an ebook that you guys can get for free when you subscribe to his podcast, Legends and Losers, which you guys can actually go check out right freaking now because it's an amazing podcast that they do. So we are the back end. That is a biased, but I'm a genuine fan of the show because they're awesome. But my team does produce the podcast behind the scenes. That is what I do. Besides all the stuff that we do in real estate with Greg.
Yeah, guys, send me referrals in San Francisco East Bay, down the 680 corridor. Love to be your go-to guy for the Bay Area. And then, Matt, we're going to wrap it up and get out of here because people are tired of listening to us.
That's right. GetNowBusiness.com, guys. Do not forget to sign up for that. July is fast approaching. We're already halfway through June. I can't believe it. The class is going to be starting in 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. It's July 10th. It's the second Monday in July. That is the first day of the next round of Get Now Business. We are having a blast teaching it. It's a lot of fun teaching you how to strategically go after the two types of people that can actually put commission checks into your pocket in the next 90 days, guys. So if you want commission checks in your pocket in the next 90 days and you're not quite sure what, out of all the ideas that we talk about on the show, what are the things that you should be really zeroing in and focusing on to get those clients? That's what we talk about in that class. So go sign up, getnowbusiness.com. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to heart and like us on the way out here. We appreciate everybody that stuck around for the entire broadcast here on Facebook Live. Guys, go subscribe to the show on YouTube. Guys, seriously, go subscribe on our YouTube channel so you get the latest videos and clips. Go subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher and leave us a nice review. We always read those, and we appreciate everything that you guys say. Make sure to share it with your coworkers and fellow agents. And then follow us. Do not friend us on Facebook. That is the best way to get a hold and follow both of us.
Yep. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next couple of shows. But until then, peace out, man.